£200 for 10 minutes. 10 minutes in a bicycle rickshaw. I hope not. But London is asking just how badly tourists can be ripped off by its unregulated pedicabs. Hi there, everyone. This will be a fun one. It's Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with stories about current events and trending topics. And I always look for stories from the English-speaking world to help you learn a little more about the places that speak your new language. And I came across a few articles about pedicabs in London. It brought back some memories of my time in London as a student. I saw them, I did not take them. But now the British government wants to regulate pedicabs like taxis. And that means possibly capping the exorbitant prices they charge tourists. Is that a good idea? We'll talk about it today. In the second half of every Plain English, we talk about a common English expression. Today, that's draw the line. Where do you draw the line? That's the question, and we'll talk about what that means later on today. This is episode number 647, and that means JR, our producer, has uploaded the full lesson content to plainenglish.com/647. If you're looking for the transcript, that's where you find it, plainenglish.com/647, and the transcript is free. All right, ready to go. Let's do this. In many parts of the world, especially in Asia's teeming cities, the cheapest way to get around, other than walking, is on a rickshaw. The rickshaw was invented in Japan in the late 1800s. Early rickshaws had 2 or 3 wheels and an elevated seat. A single operator grabbed 2 wooden handles and pulled. It was a grueling job. By the early 20th century, bicycles had made things just a bit easier on the operators. Soon, these new bicycle rickshaws had taken Singapore and other Asian cities by storm. Today, there are millions of bicycle rickshaws in India, Indonesia, Bangladesh, China, Thailand, the Philippines, and more. Outside Asia, bicycle rickshaws are a novelty or a tourist attraction, something you see just once in a while. But you might be surprised to learn about one place full of bicycle rickshaws, and that place is London. In London, they're called pedicabs. They're popular with theater goers leaving shows in the West End and with party goers in SoHo. But more than anything, they're popular with tourists. Unlike the rickshaws on the streets of Delhi, London's pedicabs are a luxury experience. To drum up business, pedicab owners decorate their cabs with fake fur and neon lights. Operators play music and wave to tourists. Some try to attract a particular type of clientele. Those who want to attract wealthy Middle Eastern riders put up pictures of Arab leaders and play traditional music. Some people say the market for pedicabs is out of control. Taxis are regulated and prices are fixed. Uber and other rideshare apps are also licensed by the government. Elsewhere in England, pedicabs are licensed and regulated like taxis. But pedicabs are unregulated in the capital thanks to a loophole in London's original taxi law from the 1800s. As long as pedicabs negotiate their fares individually with each client, they can escape government regulation. So, there is no published price list. There are lots of tourists, and there are lots of drunk locals. The government says that all adds up to a major ripoff. A new proposal would set a cap on prices and require pedicab drivers to be licensed and submit to safety standards. One YouTuber went around London hotspots on a popular night, asking pedicab drivers how much it would cost to get from point A to point B. He found a wide range of prices, from £20 to £40 for the same short route. One driver quoted him £5 per minute with a minimum of 10 minutes. All this for a ride that would have cost just £10 in Uber. Some look at that experience and say that pedicabs are a ripoff, taking advantage of tourists who don't know what the price should be. But others say that a pedicab is less about transportation and more about entertainment. Many customers ask for round-trip rides, meaning they don't go from point A to point B. They just want a fun ride around the West End. Still, even many pedicab drivers say they're in favor of some kind of regulation. Licensing would increase safety. A driver's name and photo would be visible in the cab. Drivers would have to pass a background check, and a lot of them don't mind this type of regulation. But they draw the line at price limits. Take the £5 per minute fare. On a per minute basis, that's £300 an hour, a good pay rate for a lawyer at a top London firm. But the pedicab riders still struggle to make a living. They don't pedal the full hour. They're not busy all night long. They might only have a handful of fares in a single night, and not every night is popular. The flexibility to change their prices helps them pay the bills. So what if the occasional tourist pays a sky-high price? They're happy one way or another. So should fares be regulated? It probably depends on how you see the pedicabs. The argument for regulating fares is strong in transportation, but much less strong in entertainment. So if you think the pedicabs are about transportation, fare rules might be appropriate. If they're really just about a fun time, then maybe not. I've never taken a ride in a pedicab or a rickshaw. In India, it was out of pure guilt. I just could not sit down while another human being pedaled me up a hill on a bike. It's probably irrational, but I just couldn't do it. Not when I had two perfectly good legs. And in London, I never took them because they are obviously a ripoff. Even the most gullible tourist, even the drunkest soccer fan, has got to know that this is not a cost-efficient way to get around. Anyway, if I had a vote, which I don't, but if I had a vote, I'd say license them, set some basic safety standards, set some rules of the road, but leave prices alone. Buyer beware. These are entertainment more than anything else, in my opinion. Draw the line. This is an idiom. When someone says they draw the line at something, it means they set a limit or boundary that they don't want to cross. It's like saying, this is as far as I will go, no farther. We often use this expression when we're talking about what we are willing or not willing to accept or tolerate. And when we say, draw the line, we say, this is what I won't accept. I draw the line at X means I'll accept something, but I won't accept X. This is a great term to use when you're in some kind of a negotiation. In a negotiation, there's give and take. Each side wants a little something, right? And to get something, you have to give something up. The question is always, how much do you give up? Or, where do you draw the line? Let's start with a very modern example. How much screen time should kids get? I have no idea. I don't have kids, and the term screen time was not a thing when I was growing up. But today, parents have to draw the line somewhere. It's probably unrealistic to expect kids not to watch TV, YouTube, or be on social media, but it's not healthy for kids to be glued to their devices either. So parents have to draw the line somewhere. Parents have to say, I'll accept this much, but no more. Some parents draw the line at social media. They don't want kids on apps like Instagram, where there are few protections for minors. Other parents will draw the line at night. After a certain time, screens have to be off. There are a lot of controls, too, that let parents draw the line at a number of hours per day, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours per day. Every parent has to draw the line somewhere. How are we doing on our New Year's resolutions? If you're trying to eat a healthy diet in the new year, you have to decide what restrictions you can live with. This is like a negotiation with yourself, right? You might say, I'll cut down on red meat and ultra-processed carbs, but I draw the line at chocolate. That means I'll accept less red meat, I'll accept fewer processed carbs, but I must have my chocolate. I'll go this far, but no farther. If I draw the line at chocolate, then that means I don't accept eliminating chocolate from my diet. And if you draw the line there, then you're at good company because that's where I draw the line too. You can use this expression in the workplace too, whenever there is a negotiation. It's hard to set boundaries these days, especially if you have to deal with a lot of email, Slack notifications, Teams messages, or calls with colleagues in other time zones. But you have to draw the line somewhere. Here's what you might say. I'll work at night occasionally, but I draw the line at working on Sundays. That means you're willing to accept working sometimes at night, but you are not willing to accept work on Sundays. Have you been to London? If so, you might have seen pedicabs. These are bicycle rickshaws that take tourists and partygoers around SoHo and the West End. Due to a quirk in London's taxi laws, the pedicabs operate without any type of regulation, not on safety, not on fares, nothing. It's a free-for-all. But now, the government wants to regulate the pedicabs. Pedicab drivers welcome some reforms. They don't mind being licensed or passing a background check, many of them, but they draw the line at fixed prices. Normal taxis, for example, have fixed prices. Pedicab drivers charge whatever they want, whatever they can coax out of a drunk tourist. But the government has proposed setting pedicab fares just like taxi fares. That's something the pedicab drivers don't want and they won't accept. They'll accept new rules around licensing, but they draw the line at fixed prices. They fear the prices will be set too low for them to make a living. And that's all for us here at Plain English, already early February 2024. You guys, if you follow American football, you know who's in the Super Bowl. I don't know because I'm recording this in mid-January. But the Super Bowl is this Sunday, February 11th in Las Vegas, 6:30 p.m. New York time. Usher. I wrote Eminem, it's really Usher. Usher is the halftime performer. We'll see how it goes. The last two Super Bowls have been good games. I'll be watching here, but not betting. I enjoy sports, I watch them, I follow the players, but I draw the line at betting on sports. There's just no way to come out ahead unless you have far better information than everyone else, and I do not. So I don't bet. I sit back and enjoy the game without any financial stake. We'll be back on Monday. See you then.